Welcome back, everyone, to the FPL Sheeple podcast, a podcast that aggregates all the FPL content out there and delivers it to you in a plate. We are back after a nice summer break with an exciting Euros and the FPL preparations in full swing ahead of Game Week 1 this Friday. I'm your host, Carling FIFA, and I'm joined by my co host, FPL Donatello. How was the summer break for you, Donatello?
Hi, Carling. Yeah, summer's going well. Haven't thought about FPL till the last week.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been a good summer. How about you?
Yeah, it was good. The Euros were really exciting, and yeah, it was a nice break from FPL. Though the game launched really early, and we've been bombarded with quite some content in these past few weeks. So we are back again, getting all this content here together for you listeners, and yeah, we'll have fun this season.
Yeah, I think starting weeks, all the content creators started putting out players to look for or picks for next season, and I was like, I just wanted to shut off from all because now that we have started again, we have like a template that is already ready for us to
Yeah,
utilize for the
yeah,
upcoming season. So
yeah.
that's why I think it was good for me to take that break and not look at FPL until the very last week. So looking forward to like a good next season.
Yeah, me too, me too. So, all right. So we have a really packed show for you this week, and so let's get started with the agenda.
Definitely. So this podcast, we're going to look at retrospective of last season, how we did, what are the key takeaways from last season of this particular format that we started. Even though we started it pretty late, we just wanted to share what we took away from the 11 weeks that we played the FPL in this format. Um, Next would be the creators of this season. We have 20 creators. We have a couple of new names as well that we're going to reveal. Next would be the Twitter template. So, as I said just a few moments ago, um, all the content creators have made their suggestions based on the transfers or the players incoming or the new teams that came in last season, three new promoted teams. Based on those and based on the matches, there is always already a Twitter template that has been prepared based on who the content creators suggest for game week 1. So we're going to take a look at that template and ch- compare that to our tentative teams.
Yeah,
And they're not going to be our final teams, them at the end, but we're going to reveal our tentative teams for game week 1, and then we're also for this season because uh, based on what we learned last season, in fact, and how we're going to approach Fantasy Premier League this year. So that's the agenda for today, and something new for this particular season. We have started our own Fantasy Premier League mini league. It's called
yeah,
FPL Sheeple League,
yeah,
and the code to join is there in front of play with us. It will be fun to join with every one of you who's interested. So yeah, the code will be right in front of you. So please do join, and we'll have fun in that league.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, so first things first, we would like to go in retrospect what happened last season. Um, so in terms of the first thing, so we started, as I said, we started this season. We started in game week 29. So the 11 game weeks that we played, final rank for me was 310047. I think that's a pretty decent rank, even though I
yeah.
started the very.
Oh,
And Kali, the rank overall rank for you last season was 719617.
yeah.
So I feel both of us, are ranked under 1 million, which is like, I think it's a good overall feat.
Yeah,
To be honest, we did start this pretty late. We did have, some really bad game weeks, but our overall ranks at the end of last season were pretty decent, not like really great, but something to build up for the next season. We also wanted to discuss some key takeaways that we had from the last season. The first and most important, I think, is to
hmm,
follow the template. um, as we are going to discuss the Twitter template for game week 1,
yeah,
there is always a template which the content creators follow or have, in which they have a certain set of players which you need to have in your team in order to get good results or good points long term. So I think it is very key for a new FPL player or someone who wants to increase their points or overall rank. You need to follow the template. You need to have a certain set of players in your team. So that, I
hmm,
think, is a very important takeaway for us. Second was, don't take too many hits. As you If you are coming back, if you're a returning viewer, you might have noticed that from
hmm,
out of the both of us, I was playing more aggressively and I took many hits. So the best players never take any hits, and that's why they are where they are. So
yeah,
in order to have like a good rank at the end of the season, you need to control your instincts and just not take many hits. Just play patiently, and we will discuss this more in depth
yeah,
in a few minutes.
yeah,
And the last point was, uh, stick to your team. The returns will come. This is just like an extension of the second point, where impatience with players mostly cause taking hits, and you have to just stick to your team. It will give returns long term, because those players, the based on the data, we've noticed that there are players, if you stick to them for a certain time, they will definitely give you returns. So you have to be patient, and not take any hits, and just stick to your team,
yeah.
stick to your gut. So I think these are some of the more important takeaways. What do you feel, Carling? Do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I mean, these are really, really interesting takeaways. And, you know, in retrospect, our season sort of was, especially the 10, 11 weeks that we played in this format, our teams were being pulled in every direction, because, for example, we were following different content creators every week, and
Yeah.
that leads to a very different style of player picks, etc. Because one week you are following a certain type of content creator who
Yeah.
is patient and does not believe in making too many changes, whereas on the other next week you might have someone who advocates going for the differential pick, so as to boost your rank. So yeah, so our teams, I feel, have had a really reasonable rank. I mean,
Yeah.
being under million out of 8.5 million players is really great. We are almost close to the top 10%. In fact,
Mhm.
we are in the top 10 percentile in the world, so that's creditable enough, even though we were being pulled in every direction. And from the key takeaways that you've put, I mean, these takeaways are very interesting, and we've sort of come up with these takeaways based on what we've seen about the content creators teams, and we will show you some slides and some data in the next few minutes that will uh, tell us why we have taken these particular key takeaways, and why we perhaps are going to use these as uh, our sort of backbone of this year's FPL that we play, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, agree with you. So why don't you go ahead and start with
Yeah,
what you have in store?
yeah. So what we did was, we wanted to look back at, um, what is it about the different content creators that uh, let's say, has given them success in this last season. So it was a simple question as to, we have 20 different content creators. How do you even figure out what was a particular set of styles or set of rules that the content creators may have followed that may have led to a very good FPL rank. So what we did was we took our 20 content creators and we decided to assign them particular traits. Now you may have seen, we can have a simple metaphor for this. It's something like the different traits that players have in the FIFA video game, right? So something like sprint speed, dribbling, passing, defense, etc. So all these are different traits that these players in FIFA have. Similarly, what we decided to do was to assign five different traits to these content creators, and we gave these five traits in terms of stars, so ranging from 1 star to 5 star, and in each case 1 star meant something for a particular trait and 5 star meant something different for that particular trait. And then using these traits we decided to sort of make categories of the content creators that we had and take a look at if there are particular categories or styles that may have done well. So let me introduce the five traits that we took a look at. First is this trait called instinctive or instinct.
Mm.
This essentially basically tells if a content creator prefers to use the eye test or goes for a data driven approach for their FPL choices. So the eye test means that these content creators are watching almost all of the matches over the weekend and they are by their eye trying to figure out which player is doing well and which player looks good. So even if that player may not have scored or assisted in that particular match, it still gives an idea. If you see Raheem Sterling consistently getting into the box and hitting shots on target, but they were being saved or he misses just by inches, you would mark Raheem Sterling for your next week's team because he is consistently almost been good, but he might just score in the next week and give you a lot of points. So that's why you mark such players using the eye test. And then on the other hand you have data driven, which is you just take a look at all the stats that are available, that all these different stats companies are recording in a very technical and professional manner, and these are being displayed on multiple websites like Understat or FBref, or even your mobile apps such as Footmob or OneFootball, etc. So you can use all that data that's there in these tables, and then you can just decide, oh, I can see that Kevin De Bruyne has consistently been involved in creating big chances, so then I will have him in my team. So that's a sort of a data driven approach. So
Right.
so how we've rated this particular trait is 5 stars means that the particular content creator relies a lot on the eye test and does not give a lot of pay attention uh, to data. So they will go more by instinct. And then the 1 star in this case are the content creators who rely solely on data and will probably sort of ignore what they see, because they looking at a match you might have biases towards certain players and you want to remove these conformational biases, so you will rely on the data more than the eye test. That's the instinctive trait.
Yeah.
Then the second trait is the stats heavy. Now this is different from the previous one, and I'll explain how. So there are also a bunch of content creators who go into really really detailed and advanced stats and models, etc., to make decisions. So they will do some sort of modeling to figure out or project what the points would be in the future for a particular player based on all the data that the players have been generating in the previous matches, or they're using really advanced stats that are not easily available to all of us using let's say free mobile apps or just
Mm.
the tables that are available online. So going to stuff such as XG, XA, and all the advanced metrics that people have been using these days to understand which players or teams are doing well. So these are the types of managers that I mean by stats heavy. So you have the 5 star stats heavy managers, which who are really stats heavy. They will use advanced stats and they will disregard just basic metrics such as just form or fixtures to
Mm.
decide their picks. And then the 1 star will be the content creators who go on form and fixtures just like a gut feeling. So those will be the 1 stars. Now mind you, none of the content creators that we have, all of the 20 of them, none of them are, 1 star stats heavy. All of them use some level of stats in their decision
Right.
making. So I think the lowest here we have is 2 or 3 stars, and then above that, because all of them manage to use some sort of detailed data from different websites, such as maybe Fantasy Football Scout, Fantasy Football Hub, and so on and so forth. So that's the stats heavy trait.
Guess nobody trusts their own guts then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we've probably played purely on gut, in the previous years, past years, and we've seen the result of that being terrible at FPL. So yeah, I guess looking at the stats seems to
Yeah.
have, improved the game anyway a little bit. Right. So these are two traits that we assigned using our own interpretation of how these content creators work. So we've watched and heard a lot of content from these content creators, 20 content creators, and they're listening to that and hearing their opinions. We've sort of come up with what each content creator will have for these two traits. Then we have three more traits which have been determined purely using the FPL data. So let's come to the first of these. The first trait that was determined using FPL data, and the third overall, is this trait called aggression. Now, this simply means that has a content creator taken a lot of hits over the season? So all your -4, -8, or -12s in some cases that have been taken over the season. And so we've simply defined the content creators who've taken the most hits as aggressive managers. So ones who have 5 star in this trait have taken many hits. For example, -108 over the whole season, right? And
That
then
is a
there
lot.
are, yeah,
Mm.
that's seriously a lot. But sometimes it pays off, because maybe out of this
Mm.
108 point hits, you are gaining more than 108 points because your picks are so explosive or
Yeah.
differential. And on the other hand, you have the 1 star aggressive managers which take almost no hits throughout the season. So that's like an example of -12 over the whole season. And so that's like you've almost made free transfers all of your weeks except a couple, right? So that's how those are the ones that we have called sort of the patient managers. So those are the 1 star in the aggression
Mm.
trait. The fourth trait we are using is the differential trait, and differential is something that is a term that's used very commonly in FPL, and it means nothing but sort of picking players that are consistently low in ownership. So basically, picking players that not a lot of teams around you or in FPL generally have, and these are the players that are going to go on to score a lot of points, thereby giving you a large amount of advantage of all their points. And this sort of links back to effective ownership and this discussion we've had last season in one of our episodes. So it sort of links back to that, but without having to go into too much detail, it's essentially we are trying to measure which content creators consistently go for the differential picks. And so the 5 stars indicate the content creators which
Mm.
consistently pick players with low ownership, and then the 1 star differential managers are the ones that pick players that are mostly template. So those are mostly the players that are, you know throughout the entire FPL set of players, a lot of them have picked him. So for example, Mo Salah, who is almost in 50% of teams in many cases, in
Yep.
many weeks, so he's being picked consistently, etc. So that's the differential trait. And so in this case, for example, what we did was, for all of the 20 content creators, we took a look at what the ownership of each of the players that they picked throughout the season was, and then we assigned the stars using that. So it's a purely data driven approach. It's not, we have not interfered in the star assignment, it's the data that's driving this assignment. And then finally we have this trait which is called history. Essentially, these are the all time FPL ranks for all these 20 content creators based on their previous season. So all these content creators have been playing FPL for 10, if not more than 10 years, and they have, if you have noticed, been achieving top 100k, top 1k, top 500, and in some cases top 100 results through in the previous seasons consistently. And so Premier Fantasy Tools is a website which sort of has their has a has an all-time rank for all the managers in FPL, and you can check out your own all-time rank as well on this website, Premier Fantasy Tools. So in this, basically, the all-time rank depends on your FPL rankings on the previous seasons, with more weightage given to the recent seasons. So if you've been
Hmm.
consistently been in the top 10k in the last 3 seasons, then your FPL ranking, overall all-time FPL rank, will be super high. So essentially, 5 stars in the history trait means that the content creator has consistently awesome ranks um, for the past 4 or 5 seasons, and then 1 star means that this content creator has had some recent seasons with low ranks, right? So that's what
Hmm.
the 1 star means. So again, this
Right.
is another trait that has been determined by their all-time FPL ranks, and this is something that the data assigns the trait. We don't assign it on their own, right?
Yep.
So these are the 5 traits, and I can show you some examples. So for example, if we take a look at FPL General, we know that he consistently talks about the eye test. He watches games after the weekend. He watches BBC Match of the Day to figure out which players are doing well. So we would say that he's a 4 star instinctive manager, which means he relies on his on the eye test. Then he uses stats to some degree, but not a lot. He's planning to use more of it this season. But overall, we would say that he is a 3 star stats heavy manager. Then, if you take a look at the differential trait, General consistently picks players that are templates, so players that are high in ownership, but he picks, or essentially he's picking the good players, right? Because the template has some basis to it. These are the players that are performing well, and that's why they are in many teams. So General also picks these differential, I mean, he picks these template players. That's why his differential trait is just 1 star. Then, when it comes
Hmm.
to aggression, General just took minus 60 over the course of whole season, which is a medium sort of number in terms of hits when compared to the other managers. And so his aggression rank is 3 star. And finally, his all-time rank in throughout his career, based on all his recent seasons, he's been 3.8k. And so this also puts him somewhere in the middle, uh, obviously in the relation with the other 20 content creators. So his history trait is also 3 star, right? So this is the way in which these traits or these ratings have been assigned to these different managers. And I can show you a couple of more examples. FPL Heisenberg, who seems to have an amazing history, seems to be low in aggression because doesn't take too many hits, and is again an instinctive manager. And finally, we have another example, who is late riser, who is consistently differential. He will pick the players that are very lowly owned, and he's also very aggressive. Last season, he did not start well, and so then he kept taking hits in order to try and catch up and pick the differential players. But he therefore is a sort of a differential and aggressive sort of manager, is what we would say, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that's just examples of how these ratings have worked. And we have up on screen, and the listeners can go to YouTube and take a look at the ratings for all the 20 content creators. You can pause the video at this point and take a look at how the different content creators are, and if there's a particular style that appeals to you, then you can pick and choose these content creators or look at them specifically based on these traits. But as you can see, there are 5 traits for 20 different content creators. And so how do you make sense of all this data that we've put up on screen, or sort of explaining to you? So what we decided to do is now try and classify these 20 content creators into categories based on all these trait values that we have assigned to them. Okay. And so for all the geeks out there, or for all the sort of people who dabble into data analysis or statistics, we used something that's called a k-means clustering to cluster these content creators into 4 different categories based on their trait values. So let's take a look at these 4 categories. The first is the category which we call the instinctive plus template managers. And if you notice that for these managers in the instinctive trait, they are consistently 4 star or 5 star. So they almost rely on their gut feeling or on the eye test way more than anything else. And all of these have very low differential trait values. So they are mostly picking the template players, mostly picking the players that are highly owned. So that these are the instinctive plus template managers. Okay. Then the second category of content creators are the patient plus strong history managers. So these are the content creators who have consistently not taken hits throughout the season. So the aggression stars for these FPL content creators was 1 or 2 stars maximum. So they've taken very few hits and they remain really patient. They are medium in terms of differential picks, so they pick some mostly differential, mostly template players, but some couple of differential players. And their most uh, amazing trait is their history. All of these content creators, we have 6 of them. All of them have amazing all-time FPL ranks, and their history traits are at least, I mean, almost 5 stars in almost all cases. So these are the patient and the strong history managers. And then the third category are the stats heavy managers. Now these are the ones who were strong in the stats heavy trait. So you have, these are all the managers who rely on the advanced statistics like xg, xa, looking at it, comparing it, making sense out of it, doing some statistical analysis to understand which players are doing better than others. And so then these are the stats heavy managers whose stats heavy trait is 4 or 5 stars in most cases. And finally, we have two managers who really stood out as a cluster of their own. These are the differential managers who consistently pick players with low ownership, and they also turned out to be the aggressive kind of managers. Ended up taking many hits, like in the so we have two managers here. So Tom, from who got the assist, who took minus 96 over the course of whole season, and Late Riser, for example, as I said before, took minus 108 throughout the whole season. So these are the differential and sort of aggressive managers um, who played the game in that manner over the course of last season. All right. So are you with me so far, Donatello? All good? Sorry, I think you might be on mute.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. So it's just interesting looking at all this data. I'm looking at all the stats heavy managers now. So, there's like a consistent average of like, I think, minus 48 of
Yeah.
points, which has been deducted. And then there's the like skewed, uh, someone has got minus 64, minus
Yeah.
72. But like, it's really interesting to see how this
Yeah.
hive mind of their works.
Yeah.
It's not as if they've planned everything. Same with I guess patient and strong histories. Like pretty
Yeah.
much the average lies between 30 to 40 minus points, minus 30 to minus 40 points,
Yeah.
like number of hits that they've taken. So yeah, it's awesome. And I guess, yeah, that's what we have taken away from last season, based on just 11 game weeks of following all these content
Yeah.
creators. That, looking at the patient plus strong history managers, they have just like not taken too many hits, um, and probably stuck to the template, or like they're not playing too much differential. As you can see, they're like mostly two
Yeah.
stars or 3 stars.
Exactly.
So just patiently chipping away,
Yeah.
not taking too many hits. So that's the ideal, way to play FPL if you want to get like a good rank. But uh, you know, it all depends on how your season starts, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
if you if you start a really bad way, then you probably have to go the extremely differential way.
yeah.
If you start good, then you are in a good condition to be patient and build up on your good start. So
Yeah.
yeah, all this data is really awesome to analyze and put forward to our listeners.
Yeah. And And you make a very interesting point, and this is exactly what the outcome of this is. Like, okay, now we've put them into these four different categories. How did they perform over the course of last season? Did a particular class of managers, do really well in terms of rank versus the others? And we'll take a look at that in the next sort of few minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
what we've done is, now for each of these categories, we have now calculated their average overall rank at the end of the season, and now I'm going to put them in the reverse order of, from the lowest rank to the highest rank, and we'll see which category of content creator did the best, and then we can talk a bit more uh,
Mm.
about what we were just saying. So yeah, so then the the ones with who had the lowest rank were the differential aggressive managers, so just the two of them,
Yeah.
Tom from Who Got the Assist and Late Riser. Their average overall rank was 4.2 no 421k, and at the end of the season. And we've also put up on screen their rank trajectories, starting from game week 1 up to game week 38. And so from on the left we have game week 1, and they start around 1 million in the case of Tom, and Late Riser was, I think, pretty below, like 3 or 4 million, and then they started sort of building up in the rank. I think for their own liking they didn't rise in the rank as much as they hoped, but they
Mm.
both of them ended up being under 1 million. And
Yeah.
I would say this sort of probably is, I mean, they've gotten ranks that are probably similar to our own ranks. And so probably, we've also acknowledged this in the beginning of the pod, that we also were pretty aggressive in the 11 game weeks that we played. That, I mean, for
Oh
example, in
yeah,
your case, you
100%. Yeah.
you took a lot of hits, and I to be fair, also took quite a few hits, in fact more than I would have normally done. Uh, so both of us seem to have, also fallen into this differential and aggressive category, and we also ended up being in ranks that were around these two content creators. So it was interesting that this sort of also fit.
Yeah, I think with us it was a case of some really bad game weeks, and then we stuck in that loop of getting good points the next game week. So
Yeah.
we took hits, and then we got less points, and we took more hits. So that was like a vicious cycle going on there
Yeah.
with us, which resulted in a decent overall rank, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely fall in this category for last
Yeah,
season at least.
yeah, for last season. All right. So in third place are the stats heavy managers, who had an average overall rank of 91,000. So there's a big jump from the differential managers. And the five managers who were in this category were the guys from Always Cheating podcast, Josh and Brandon. There was Nick from Who Got the Assist, Big Man Bucker, and Fergie from Fantasy Football Hub. So these were the ones who were categorized in the stats heavy category, and
Mhm.
they ended up, doing pretty well. I mean, an average rank of below 100k. So yeah, so looks like using stats and advanced stats does get you a very good FPL rank. Yeah,
What's interesting to me now that we like the two graphs in front of us, it looks like some of the creators or some of the pundits here had pretty similar starts as compared to the differential managers, but like probably the way they played like made changes to their overall ranks, or the way they rose in ranks, like
yeah,
completely different, as you can see.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and then it's like, for example, in the case of Nick, who seem to be somewhere around 50k rank in game week 14, and then sort of
Mm.
stabilized and sort of kept moving in and out of the 100k, and finished with roughly
Yeah.
100k towards the end. So even that is something that has happened in quite a few cases, that is stabilized after a point, and they didn't seem to keep going up forever. So that
Yeah.
also seems to be a common theme. So it looks like you can, after a point, especially towards the end of the season, you really, to rise in the rank, you have to do something really maverick. Otherwise you're
Mm.
probably not going to catch up a lot. You're probably going to maintain your
Yeah.
rank quite a bit. uh,
Yeah.
All right, then coming in second place are the instinctive and template managers. So we have seven different managers in this category. They are Ben Krellin, FPL Salah, Sam and Lee from the FPL family, Adam Hopcroft, FPL General, and Az from FF Scout or the FPL Black Box. So yeah, so the average overall rank for the instinctive or the template managers was 49k. So looks
Mm.
like, uh, taking a look at the eye test, trusting your guts, uh, not using a lot of stats, and then picking the template players seems to get you. I mean, at least in the last
Mm.
season, seems to have gotten you a really amazing rank. So, and this is sort of going back, circling back to the key takeaway we had at the beginning of the pod is to,
Yeah,
have to be
yeah.
template and be sort of,
Follow the template, I think, is really important, like from game week one, because
yeah,
as you can see, some of these players, like for like I see FPL Salah and FPL General had like really great starts,
yeah,
and then look at the graph at how they went up if
yeah,
because they had the template team. I
yeah,
think the drop in General's team was the wild card that he
yeah,
played, but then till that point, like he was like doing really well, and
yeah,
most of these, almost all of these players had like template team, and then as you can see, their average current rank is below 50,000.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that is key for us this season in order to get some really great ranks.
Yeah, I agree. And so it's yeah, I mean that's why this sort of analysis became super interesting for us to take some good points away from last season. And then finally, the ones who really dominated last season were the patient managers with strong history. So we had six
Mm.
managers in this category: Andy, Let's Talk FPL, Mark Southerns from FPL Black Box, FPL Tips, the YouTube channel, then FPL Heisenberg. We have Zofar from the FPL Wire, and Skonto Riga or Neil Rig from Fantasy Football Scout. So these six managers are the ones who hardly took any hits. They have an amazing history when it comes to their previous FPL seasons, and so it looks like another point here that do not take a lot of hits, and that may serve to give you, be patient with the players that you've picked so that give them time to give you benefits, and I guess that
Yep.
pays really well. Their average overall rank turned out to be 10k, which is what all of us want, right? In the end. And
Yeah, that is really amazing, and yeah, key takeaway for us to like just
yeah,
be patient with your teams. You get into this cycle, as I talked about a few minutes ago, where you feel you do bad in a game week, and then you take hits, and then the player who you took out of your teams gets good points the very next game week, and you're like, oh, why did I do that? So you have to stick to your team, and then build on it in order to get some good game week points consistently in order to get these ranks, I think so.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, look at Andy's graph, for example. That's
mm,
insane. He almost was like below 1,000
yeah,
in rank. So that's
exactly.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, so that's why our key takeaways from the beginning of the pod, based on all this sort of analysis of the 20 content creators over the last season. So hopefully I mean, we will try and implement these takeaways as much as possible this season. I mean, obviously, there is this whole argument that every season is different from the last, and you may have to adapt our strategy accordingly. But just to begin with, I guess this is a nice starting point. These are nice takeaways for us to start our season and then see how we do over time, taking the content creator of the week into consideration and then going on from there. So yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So it depends on how we start with game week one. So
yeah,
good data analysis there, Carling, from you.
yeah. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this part. Now, speaking about the next season and having a good start, let's take a look at who will be the creators for this season, and who we have in our roster of 20 content creators.
Yeah, I think we have pretty much the same set, except
Yeah.
we have two new additions.
Yep.
I think it's Will Thomas and Tom Freeman. Their handles are FFH Will and FPL Cruyff.
Yeah.
So these are the two new additions to our roster. The rest are pretty much
Yeah.
the same guys from last season. So it will be, yeah, interesting to follow these guys from game week one and see how we progress based on their recommendations.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
And I guess because we have 20 content creators, we will, I think, overall, we will have one content creator per week. But because
yep,
we just have 20, I think over the course of the season, each content creator will be the creator of the week at least twice, right? Up to
yep,
a maximum of 2 times. So
yep,
halfway through the season, we will reset our creators of the week and start again. So that's the plan of using 20 content creators for the 38
yep.
game weeks. And then s- what should be the team is the golden question to start and get this amazing start. And you know so what we did was we pulled out this Twitter template, which was displayed very handily on the FPL Black Box podcast last week. uh,
Mm,
uh, Chaz, who's the co-host of the podcast, uh, very patiently sat down. I mean, he first off put up a tweet to for people to send their teams on Twitter, and then he sat down, took a look at all the teams, and came up with this template, which is essentially the players that looked like in everyone's draft.
mm,
Mind you, these are not the final drafts. Things are going to change a lot with transfers, injuries. We've already seen some of these players play a little bit in the preseason friendly. Some of them have probably also been injured, or new transfers have probably put their place under threat. But this was the template we have as sort of a starting point. At least I would say 8 or 9 of these players are a good starting point um, as a
yeah,
template team. Uh,
yeah, and
yeah, go ahead.
I think I would like to point out a bit more about how the template is designed by most of the FPL content creators or
Yeah,
like or players. The key is to own players with low value, like 4.55
yeah,
dollars in your bank. That's the key. And as you can notice in this team, some of the players, like for example the goalkeepers or some of the defenders, they lie in that same region. It's important for you to have these players, I guess, in your team so that you can be able to afford the Salas and the Fernandes,
yeah,
or the Trent Alexander-Arnolds or
yeah,
Robertsons. But he's injured now. But yeah, you
yeah,
need to build your team based on some of the uh, key template players. In which case, now this season are Salah, Fernandes, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Shaw,
yeah,
and I see Rafinha again from last season. Yeah, so I guess I guess most of the players have built their team around these
yeah,
players, and then you just it's just like fitting jig. So
yeah,
uh, right.
yeah.
So
So I'll just
that was a takeaway
yeah.
from for me.
Yeah, so I'll just read out the template for the benefit of our listeners. So, the goalkeeper that is very popular throughout Twitter and also has a pretty good overall sort of high ownership, even in FPL, is Robert Sanchez from Brighton. Brighton has a very good opening set of fixtures, and so people have gone in for Brighton. They were really good defensively last season, and so the content creators have unanimously sort of pushed Robert Sanchez. He's also super cheap, 4.5 million, and that really helps you build a team of the big hitters when you have such a
Mm,
cheap goalkeeper. So yeah, Robert Sanchez in goal. Then in defense you have Trent Alexander-Arnold. There's no question as to why he's in the team. He's really great, so he should be in most people's team. Then you have Luke Shaw, who's been had a really fantastic Euros, scored in the final, which is amazing, and has been creating a lot of chances towards the end of the last season. Looks pretty good in the preseason friendly as well. So he's in the template. And Luca Dean. is in the template as well. New manager perhaps giving that boost for Dini's creativity, and also with Sigurdsson being out of the team, Digne is probably now going to be at the um, start of many of the creative moves as well. Then you have Salah, who's the captain pick, the favorite captain pick for Game Week 1. Just as last season, he has a very good fixture to begin with. In fact, very good 2 or 3 fixtures to begin with. And then you have Bruno Fernandes. Still talk on Twitter of whether Fernandes should be in or out, because there's now Sancho, and then will Bruno's influence diminish? But I think Bruno is too strong to ignore. Then, as you said, Rafinha is there in the template. Then Emiliano Buendia, with Grealish moving to City, people feel Buendia will be the linchpin in the Villa team, and he created a lot of chances in the Championship last season. So his move to Aston Villa will really boost his sort of chances of scoring points in FPL. Ollie Watkins. Now, Ollie Watkins was in the template last week, but since then Villa has signed Danny Ings, and so that puts sort of Ollie Watkins's starting lineup position into jeopardy. But so yeah, Watkins is still there in the Twitter template, and he can be swapped for Ings, for example. And you have Mikel Antonio and Ivan Tony from Brentford, who's also been pipped. He did well in the Championship last season. He's in the template as well. So yeah, so that's the team. Maybe that's the template. And as we've heard in the pod so far, we have to pick template players. So we should go with these, right?
Yeah. So let's
Yeah.
start with you. What did you pick?
Well, let's see if you can spot the difference between the template team and my team. And there is hardly any. So I have gone for, I mean, again, disclaimer, we will probably change the team over the next 3 or 4 days before the deadline, because more information, content creators will also reveal their teams and tell us more information about what's going on. But right now I have the entire template team with only three
Mm,
exceptions. I have Weltman instead of Luca Dean, because I will give Everton a benefit of doubt, and I also wanted some cash to uh, bring in other players. So Weltman, who's another cheap option from Brighton, he's in my team. The second difference I have is Danny Ings instead of Watkins, because
mm,
I feel he'll be front and center, with Watkins probably operating either in at the wings or something like that. That's what I've heard so far. So I mean, I would go for Ings. He's a reasonably priced,
mm,
and Villa is probably going to be good attacking wise. And I have John Stones, who is right now on my bench because they have a tough fixture to start with,
mm,
but they have an amazing fixture list after that. And so John Stones is the cheapest route to the City defense. And if they are remotely as good as they were last season, then I think
mm.
Stones will be a great pick. So that's my team, and it's almost template. So I have taken the key takeaway with me this season.
Yeah, it's a good team.
Yeah,
Um, I
yeah,
think Ings is a good choice based on what you said. Maybe if Villa change their formation and plays two striker,
yeah,
then both Ings and Watkins will start. But I don't know. Yeah, but Ings seems to be a good option. Yeah, rest is all template.
yeah,
So yeah, let's move to my team.
yeah,
Um, where you might see I have beg to differ from the template a little
yeah,
bit
yeah,
because I felt like we would just end up having the same team at game week one. So I was
yeah,
like, I wanted to have some differentials in there
yeah,
to have like a really good start. So, I have my goalkeepers are the same. I start with Sanchez, then my defense line is Trent and Shaw, but I've gone for Vladimir Sufal based on his last season, which was amazing.
yeah,
He was delivering assists almost every other game. So, and also I feel Newcastle away is a good start for West Ham. So I went with Sufal.
hmm,
My midfield is almost the same with the exception or the addition of Ismailia Sarr from Watford.
yeah,
I have seen him play the season before the last one, and he's
Yeah.
a really good player. So, and I guess Villa at home would be a good start for him. So I've gone for Ismailia Sarr. And my
Yeah.
forwards, I've gone for like a heavy forward line. I've gone for Antonio and Iheanacho. I want to
Nice.
I want to stick to Iheanacho's form from last season. So
Yeah.
I've gone for him. And my bench consists of Dean, Luca Dean, and Ben White. I feel Dean is again like a good template pick. So even though I might not play him this game week, I might have him in the team and play him some from the game week after. And I was still confused between Sufal or Ben White, but I've benched Ben White for now. But it might change. As Carling said, this is
Yeah.
not going to be our final team. There would be changes at the end of before the game week deadline ends. So yeah, this is my tentative team for now.
Yeah.
Um,
Looks good.
so
Ismail
yeah,
Assar and Ian Acho, yeah, is a really interesting pick. And he scored in the
he
Community
scored in
Shield. Yeah.
the Community Shield. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm hoping he continues his form.
Yeah, no, looks good. This is good. We've sort of gone largely template, and now the onus is on us to be
Hmm.
patient and
Hmm.
see how it pans out for us. So yeah.
Yeah, and that brings us to the last thing to discuss.
Yeah.
What is going to be our strategy this season? So based on what you guys have heard in this podcast about the different types of managers we've categorized based on the data, um, I think for my part, I'm going to try to be, more template and
Mm-hmm.
patient, but try to add a bit of differentials here and there, just to get that kick out of the a particular game week. So
Yeah.
that's going to be my strategy for this game week. I hope we both have a good start in order
Yeah.
to keep on practicing this strategy. Otherwise, if we end up with a very bad game week one, in fact, and we are like really down in the ranks, then we would have to keep on changing this. So I think the idea is to start with a specific strategy of being patient, being more template, build on that and see how it goes. And it would be very fun to see how I end up at game week 38 or what I
Yeah.
become at the end of the game week 38.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's going
That's
to
true.
be the strategy for me. What about you?
Yeah, same. So I'm going to try to have an aggression trait ranking of 1 star and a differential trait ranking of maybe 2 stars, which
Mm,
is being mostly template or with 1 or 2 differentials, and let's see
yeah.
where that takes us. Maybe this season also pans out the same way as last season, and we end up having good ranks. I mean, for me, I would say top 100K would be the aim for this season. What about you? Aiming
Yeah,
higher?
same. Yeah. So I was in 300K last season. At the end of the last season, I definitely want to be on like top 100K for sure. So that's
Yeah,
the aim. So yeah, hoping all this planning
yeah,
gives us some benefits at the end of the season.
yeah. And let's see what the creators of the week tell us and where they take our teams. Maybe our creators of the week end up being, the differential creators to begin with, and then we have. Let's see. It'll be really interesting. It's nice. We are just, a blind sheep, and let's see how the masters sort of take us through this perilous journey, and hopefully we end up
Yeah,
achieving
definitely.
our
I
aims.
hope the content creators don't change their style this season all of a
Oh
sudden,
yeah,
because otherwise,
yeah,
clutching at straws then.
yeah. No, at the before. I mean, at the end of this coming season, we'll once again be analyzing, and we'll see if they've sort of
Yeah.
stuck to their guns. So yeah, so that's our sort of looking forward to next season. I think this sort of serves well as sort of a game week one preview as well,
Mm.
because our format is such that we normally need to have the the teams from the different content creators and analyzing how they did, and then picking a creator of the week. We will have an episode directly after game week one is done. and before game week 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And yeah, the season starts Friday, August 13th.
yeah,
So, make sure you have your teams ready
yeah,
by before Friday. Check us out, listen to our podcast. We may post on Twitter
yeah,
if we have any changes, or we may post our final team on Twitter. So yeah,
exactly.
keep your eyes out for everything that's going on before the game week starts.
And then that's it. Then thanks for listening, everyone. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is where we primarily put up the video, and you can
Hmm.
obviously check us out on all the popular audio podcast platforms such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, etc. You can follow us on Twitter at FPL Sheeple, and yeah, hope you have a good season. Hope this pod helps you out as well in terms of starting off. And then we'll see you after game week 1 and see where we are at and how we can move forward into the season. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good luck to everyone.
Yeah. Good luck, and it's goodbye from us. Goodbye.